All right. You guys see me? I don't know, is this good? It might be a little, yeah, they're gonna see my face anyways. I wanted to make a quick video today. I had people, I've had a lot of funny videos on the website, Pokemon related, so I thought I'd mix it up, have my little fun, but also do this. I'm gonna answer some of those questions from Instagram, but I want to talk first, real quick, make this just a real quick lesson for you guys, why you shouldn't use a realtor. Now that may sound weird coming from me. Obviously, you guys know why it sounds weird coming from me. It's very, very interesting to say, but knowing the game so well and have been able to work on so many transactions, I just understand the process, and really there's a simple solution I'm advocating. But here's a quick reason why. You are going to sell your home for less money. On average, a real estate agent who sells their own home receives more money for their house than somebody who sells their home and they're not an agent. Why? Think about it. I actually just closed on a listing today, and we sold it for full asking price. The week before, I got an offer for we sold it for $290. I got an offer for $270. We rejected it. And now that was a big, granted, that's a huge lowball. But here's the funny part is that most agents in that case, most agents are more inclined to advise their clients to take the money quicker, as opposed to if that was their own home, they understand to wait because they will get the price. You may ask why. It's very simple. They're going to tell you to take the quickest offer. If it's reasonable, $270 wasn't reasonable. But let's say I sold for $295 and we got an offer for $285. $280 even. An agent would be very, very, he might, obviously they have a duty to have your best interest in mind, but this is where we ask ourselves the logic of it. Is that always the case? Because think about it. An agent is going to be more inclined to tell or convince you to go purchase a property or to sell your property faster, because if you say, no, I want to wait for that extra $5,000, $10,000, what if that takes a month? What if that takes 2 months? To them, that extra 30, 60 days, even if that means 5, 10, 20, 30 grand for the seller, that only equates to about $300 to $500 of extra commission. So they're not gonna wanna do open houses, showings, and field all these offers for that extra $300 to $500 bucks. They're gonna be more inclined to tell you to take it right away. Next, you're gonna be paying a 1.5 to 3%, even maybe more if you're selling your house, for relatively little. Why do I say that? Because, nowadays the internet has everything, marketing your property and doing all that, getting people to find it, and really realistically the demand. There's so much demand out there, especially right now, that obviously could change, but it's not as if this is what I'm trying to say. It's not as if they're doing something you couldn't do yourself. Simple as that. And, putting that into perspective, I will tell you this, I will give a counter argument to that, because what I'm trying to say, I'm not saying list for sale by owner, which is pretty ironic, right? I'm telling you don't use a realtor, but don't for sale by owner. Why? It's the interesting part about it is that, because if you don't use a realtor, you might not get shown. Your property won't get shown, Other realtors are going to be less inclined to show these for sale by owner properties, so your property may get less looks. But at the end of the day, if you have a good property, it's in a high demand area, especially this market, you're most likely going to sell it. Internet does everything. All you got to do is find the buyer. So those are really quick things. Why I'm saying that, and why this one's so important to me. That 1 to 3%, that's huge. That's a couple $1,000s that could really make a difference for anybody. Really, I should probably say it on this side, huh? But actually, I don't like to say it. It looks weird. But that being said, it's that 1 to 3%, I'm gonna talk about like flipping and stuff and all that, and even selling the property for profit. That cuts into your margin sometimes, especially if your property hasn't appreciated much, and that it doesn't give you the same flexibility. So that's that. And now this leads me to what is the solution? Very easy. Become your own agent. It's the easiest thing in the world. It's gonna cost you $300 to $600 to go get licensed, to go learn the laws, to go learn the practice, in about 50 hours of your time. Maybe more if you want to study, but it's not that difficult to become your own agent, and that you spend that money, you take that time, go become your own agent, go get under a brokerage. It's very simple after that. You're saving that 1 to 5, 3% right there, but then also you can make a fortune. You can now help your friends and stuff like that. But if you're like me, you're probably gonna say, hey, why don't you become your own agent? But at the end of the day, some people are, you gotta realize, I know people aren't willing to do it all the time. People aren't gonna be willing to go become an agent. Here's the thing, you know, if you're a multi-millionaire, you don't care. All right, sorry about that. Where did my pen go? Oh, my pocket. All right, I gotta face this towards me. But sorry about that, you know, my card just cut out, your card got full. But like I was saying, you know, if you've already, you know, you're a millionaire, you're multi-millionaire, or you're pretty well off, and or you don't have the time to learn, you know what I'm saying? If you're already making, literally, if that $10,000 to $20,000 does not matter to you, and really isn't gonna affect your next purchase, selling, or maybe you just don't like money as much as I do, I don't know what it may be, then yeah, it makes sense, you know, go hire an agent, because really, that's what I'm saying, you're paying an agent for convenience. That's all it is. When people hire me, it's out of convenience. It's simple as that. When they go with anybody with our brokerage, it's the same thing. So pretty much what I'm saying, you know, you guys do it yourself. That is the easiest, simplest way possible. You know, don't know any other way to put it, you know, and I know some people, especially the realtors watching this, are probably gonna be like, no, and you're gonna say this, but like I said, it's just out of convenience sake, you know. Really, if you are gonna hire a real estate agent, they better be knowledgeable. Simple as that, you know, not just, oh, I know the area, I've been around this area, I walk my dog around the area, you know, I don't give a fuck about that. You know, I literally ask them how they're pricing the home, how are they getting this information and advising you, what's their track record like. You know, it's very, very simple, because like I said, they're not doing relatively much. You know, throw an open house and, you know, list the house for sale that everybody needs a home to live in, and everybody, you know, it's easy after that point. You know, everybody needs a home. The demand is real. Really, it takes care of yourself. But obviously, you know, being in the game, I know the nuances, and I know that, you know, some people, if you are really inexperienced, you know, this is why I'm giving you, don't be very cautious to what I'm saying, because some of you may be too dumb. You know, you might actually end up shooting yourself in the foot. So what do? You know, consult with professionals. There's a lot of free information online. Ask me a question. I'm glad. And guess what? Most real estate agents, they're gonna say, hey, I'll answer all your questions for free. Come here, let's sit down. I'll give you a market research. That's the game. That's how they do it. By giving you free information, they're hoping they're gonna, you know, turn you into a client. You guys ever notice why real estate agents are so fucking friendly all the time? They're all willing to give you this. They're all willing to do that. It's for that reason. They're hoping, okay, wow, you know, you give them enough free stuff and help them out, they're gonna think that person's knowledgeable and give you the listing. So just think about it. But that being said, I'm done with that. I don't know if I'm gonna mix these two videos. I might as well. Let me answer some questions. I don't know if you guys should, I don't know if I should erase this. Now that you guys got that, take it. You know, I have, excuse the handwriting, you know, that's my doctor's handwriting. Yeah, you know, I might as well just erase this so I can answer some questions. So, just cause, well, I'm gonna answer these questions from my Instagram. Just straight off. I've read a little bit of them, but most of them kind of just going off the top of my head to help you guys out. But let's see what we got. Okay, first question. I'll post it on the screen. You guys should see it right here. I think this is a good area. Right here, you know, someone said best real estate advice or book for someone who just got their first job after graduating college and looking to pursue a real estate career in the future. Start now. Go get your license today. Simple as that. All you have, there's nothing stopping you. It takes 45 hours. Usually that's the requirement for California. Go get it now. It's gonna cost you a couple $100 and get it now, so then that way you're ready to go. That's the best. As far as books, go read California Real Estate Principles. That is literally, I think every state has it, but it's just like the Real Estate Principles is what it's called. It's what every agent or prospective agents are gonna be required. That's what your test and everything is gonna be based upon. Read that, understand the laws, understand how it works. So hopefully that gives you a good insight. Next question, I know you trade stocks, but do you trade penny stocks as well? I said to that, you know, I said, if I traded penny stocks, my Ferrari would be a Ford. Someone said, okay, I'm starting to trade next year in the UK. Do you have any tips or where to start for a guy who has no clue? I'm currently saving to join your site, so hopefully you'll be learning from the best soon. You know, I'll tell you, there's a lot of where to start online on the internet. You know, there's a lot of free information. And to start, get a TD Ameritrade paper trading account. You guys could go to Thinkorswim and literally make a paper trading account. You know, it's funny, a lot of your online gurus, they post their profits from paper trading accounts. So take that in mind. But you can do the same thing. Not post your profits online and be a little scammer, but you can literally go practice with fake money, practice for 3, 6, 12 months till you get a hang of it. That's always what I recommend to everybody. Someone said, what top book would you recommend to anybody? That one, without a doubt, read The Richest Man in Babylon and The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. Those ones are easy. Someone said, what are your thoughts on the potential 16-17 market crash and the relation to the times we're living in? That's a deep question. My foot's itching. The 16-17 crash, I am very bearish, and it's funny because I actually use real estate to hedge my bearishness in the stock market. That's why you guys will see I'm very active in it now. It's for that reason. But it's an interesting take on it. What I would say is watch. It's going to be something global. It's all macroeconomics. Watch these other countries. It's going to be that other countries, currencies, bonds, and what's the last one? The dollar, pretty much. That relates back to currency, but that kind of explains the story. But it's a matter of, I know what's going to happen, just not when. This is what I'll tell you. Warren Buffett says, do you want to know when you want to die? He said, no, just tell me where. Because if you know where, you're going to avoid that place. So he's very, very prophetic in that sense of the 16-17 crash. I know it's going to happen, but I'm not going to put 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, no. But I know what to look for to be able to foresee that. So that's a very good question, though. Someone says, what is your take on flipping homes, or do you stick to rentals and getting business loans to start a business? I never took out a loan to start a business. I just saved up money. I'm a very big champion of saving money. I didn't come from a wealthy family. My parents made a lot of money in real estate, and then they lost it all. So by that time, literally, I was 14 when they lost it all. That's where I learned stocks. And with that being said, that's why I say I didn't get a business loan. I saved up. Saving money is the best way to go. Now, as far as flipping homes or sticking to rentals, both. It really all depends on your budget. There's nothing wrong with flipping homes. Believe me, I flipped homes. One of my first real estate transactions was a flip. San Diego Electra building. I flipped that. We bought it at three something and sold it for $5 within I want to say 45 days. That was a flip, but that was also 2012, 2013. The market was picking up, and it was picking up very, very large. So flips are there, and with the market being so poppy now, you could get in and flip, but it is musical chairs right now. So diversification is key. So for the more older, more well-established, rentals is the way to go. For some younger guys, you could take some risk. It is flipping. I would say flipping, renting, no wholesaling. I don't mess with that at all. Let's see. Someone said, best advice reading towards trading options. He said, I'll join the community soon, but I want to do some homework at the same time. By the way, good job for all your results. You're a great inspiration as well as a great and honest person. No bullshit, just truth, and I fucking love that. Thank you. I love you. And this is what I'll say, because I know somebody else just said it about joining and, saving up. This is what I tell you, you guys don't need to join. There is, I'm gonna give a lot of information, honestly. You guys ask me questions when I want to do these videos, I'll answer it. Anybody who's successful is willing to answer your question. This is what you guys gotta do. You don't need to join me, but just don't join somebody else. Why do I say that? Because if I'm gonna help you guys out and give stuff for free and I want to put out more, and I see you fucking degenerates going out and trying to get into the next get rich quick scheme, you saw this guy online, then I'm gonna fucking charge you. But really what I'm saying is the information is free, man. You guys got to think, how did I get here? Do you think I got here by someone on the internet? No. It's very simple. You can learn. The information is there. Just don't be fucking lazy. I'm not saying you are, but I hope you see where I'm getting at and what I'm saying. Keep saving for you, not to join the program, not to join anybody else's program. Look, you guys see I'm getting fucking hyped right now. But yeah, so anyways, best advice towards trading options, is practice, practice, practice. They are a beast, but start now. If you're starting now, options are relatively new. They're younger than 20 years. That is something to take advantage of. So just start now, keep practicing, and understand this. Understand that stocks are a derivative. A derivative is based off of an underlying asset. So there's no point in studying the derivative if you are completely unaware of the underlying asset. Study the underlying asset and you can master the derivative. Very simple. Next, do you think it's better to invest in one house that's expensive or many houses that aren't as expensive? It honestly depends who you are, but this is something my dad taught me when he told me about some of his first flips, his first experience in real estate almost 20 years ago. Go with the cheaper ones. Go with the not as expensive. Why? Liquidity. It's easier to find people who could afford a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 home than someone who could afford $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. So yes, you might be able to make some lucrative profits at finding the clients, but the more expensive the house, the longer it is to sell. So go with the ones without liquidity. It's easy to get a house for $200 and sell it for $300. It's easy to get one for $250, sell it for $400 or $500. You know, I got one. I showed you guys that one of those. I got a $380,000 home. I bought it for the TTF. That's the TTF house, and it's $380,000 in 4 months. It went to it went up almost $180,000. It's at $480 now. And that being said, think about it. It's easy for me to sell a $480,000 house. It went up 20%. You know, but now imagine a house goes from $1 million to 1.2. It's going to be a little harder to find somebody who could buy a $1.2 million house than someone who could buy one for $400,000, $480,000. That's almost 3 times cheaper. So hope you see what I'm saying. And then I'm going to skip Mr. Conroy's question because I think this is like one of the best ones. Fucking shout out Conroy, man. I love the dude. Tuturas, he said, what would you say is the best way to make the most of the Citizen newsletter received each month? What asset would you recommend to purchase first to get your feet wet, so to speak? So I don't know what assets you're talking about, whether you're talking real estate or just any in general, so I'll come back to that. But as far as the Citizen newsletter, to make the most of that, I would say really understand it and see the logic I'm getting at behind some of these plays and why we're looking at it, and start to know what is, because really what I'm highlighting in a lot of the newsletters when I write them is the cause and effect relationship and understanding how things are linking. So you're going to be able to see a pattern of how I'm making money and how I'm linking things together and how it's pretty much stringing me along these theses. So the best way is to watch them, you know, every week, but then extrapolate upon the point. You know, I'm gonna have to come back to, I'm trying to think of a good one, but going to the next one, as far as assets that I'd recommend you to purchase, saving. First, you need your savings, but a home is one of the best. If you guys don't have a home, you'd be surprised. A home is gonna be your biggest purchase, but that's where you're gonna make a lot of money. It's very, very easy, you know, surprisingly, and you need one to live in. So that should be your first one, and then stocks, you know, and understand those are investments. But as far as if you're saying I'm going to buy an asset, that you're talking either, I guess, houses or stocks, and I would say get a house, especially if you're already paying rent. So that's that. Last one, my man, Alchemy Auto Sports. He says, discuss the advantages of waiting and saving / educating yourself for a year instead of just jumping into the market with $1,000. There's so many people wanting to start this journey underprepared and underfunded. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Why? You know, it's better to save for a year, because during that year, let's say you get your hand on $1,000, right? You get $1,000. You have 2 options. Okay, I could either keep learning and learn how to do it, or I could just jump in right away. And you know, I'll play, who cares? I lose $1,000, it's $1,000, I'll make it. Don't look at money like that way. Don't be a killer of money. I love money. I don't care how much it is, $1,000, $2,000, fucking $100. No need to throw it away, especially in a market. You guys are going against me. Simple as that. If you're underprepared, you know, talk to me. If I could talk to you guys for 20 hours on one part of the stock market. I've been doing this for 10 years now. It's very, very, you know, think at the level that you just starting out. You know, if you even have to ask the question, or if you could only get your hands on $1,000, you're competing against people who touch $1 million a year minimum. You know, now not all retail traders are like that, but like I'm saying, you're going against me. You're going against other millionaires and billionaires. So wouldn't you want to learn? And wouldn't you want to learn on other people's money and at other people's expense? Because it's a zero sum. It's not a zero sum game, but it is. You know, somebody wins, somebody has to lose. That's it. So you're better off taking that, you know, $1,000, practicing with fake money, and saving up more and more, because then by the time you really learn and understand the realities, and you're gonna actually have more money saved and be able to do it than jumping in with the 1,000 and losing it and having a bad experience. You're paying tuition. That's what I call it. You pay $1,000 to learn a lesson. Why not do it with fake money? You know, paper trade. If you can't make money with fake money, how are you gonna do it with real money? You know, I've spent hundreds of thousands, if not millions, in the market just learning, you know, giving that money to people. I had to, and it's not teachers. The market is the teacher. You know, so you're gonna be better off learning all these mistakes than paying for it, because guess what? You don't have enough money. If you're telling me you can only get your hands on $1,000, you don't have enough money to learn by paying for it. Or it's gonna take you a lot of time and it's gonna be very, very painful. So please, you know, be smart. You know, don't go underfunded. You guys are better off just chilling, learning, you know, saving your money and just learning. Like I said, you got people like me, you know, I'm Josh Answers. And look at Answers, that's the name, you know. I'm willing to answer a lot of stuff. Most people are. You guys don't need to sign up for services that. Just take your time, fake money, watch the markets, and play around. Why play on your own expense? Here's what I'll tell you. You know, you want to start, you save up $1,000, you give me that $1,000, and if I give it to you 12 months later, you're gonna be better off than if you just jump in. I'll leave it at that. Stay in school. I love you guys. If you have more questions, I want to do more of these videos, so let me know. You guys might like the Pikachu faces and emojis, but I'm going to do more serious videos like this, like I said, and obviously too, I want to have my fun with the other videos. So if you don't like it, please, you know, unsubscribe. Or, you know, if you do like it, please subscribe. You know, I need to talk to you guys more. Simple as that. You know, when I'm getting questions, that's what gets me hyped. I want to see where your guys' mind's at, and you know, I want you guys to become real estate agents. I want you guys to become stock traders and be educated. And you know, you may ask why I'm doing this is because I want to network with you guys. You know, I'm not on some MLM bullshit, not on join my team, Forex, none of that bullshit. You know, literally, it's good to network. You know, I may have leads, you may have leads for me. You know, we could always connect. It's always good to share information, but either way, you know, it's no harm can happen from helping people. So let me know what it is, you know, whether it's business, you guys want to know about more what I've done in my life, anything like that. I'd love to answer it. Stay in school. Love you all.